Okay, so for this video I want to do a grenade throw. So first of all I'm going to go into my animations folder. I have a wind back idle. I'm going to go to animations and apply loop time, and then I have the animation where he's actually throwing it. So this is the one where he's just winding back, his arm is back, and then there's one where he throws. So in the animator I need to add this. So basically what I have is I have this, I guess, triangle where it goes from no weapon to gun to knife. So in between these two I need to create another one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these. I'm going to create a blend tree. This one's going to be called grenade equipped. But for this one, first I'll make transition so this one is going to go here if equip number is 3. And then it's going to go back to blend tree if it is set to 1. Oh, sorry, when it's set to 0. And this one, I'm not going to have a crouch, so it's going to go if it happens to be crouching. And then the equip is pressed, and he's in the grenade mode. Then I'm also going to just uncrouch him. Okay, so I need to open this up, and this is gonna, by default, he's not going to be in throwing mode, he's just going to be in regular mode. So main character, there's so many animations I can't find. There's walk, run, main character idle, walk, and run. So it's just the regular idle, walk, run. And from here, just move all these over. He's going to go into, oops, create another blend tree. He's going to be in grenade wind back. So open this up. One motion field. And I'm going to find the grenade animation. grenade wind back idle. So it's this one here. And it's going to go this way if bool is winding back is true. But as soon as it's set to false, he's going to, as soon as is it set to false, he's going to throw. So it's winding back, set to false. It's going to play the animation, and then it's going to just go straight back to grenade equipped. So that's the basic setup in the animator. In the character script, I need to make another else if statement when the equip button is pressed, which is the middle mouse button. Equip number equals 2. So previously I have it so that oh sorry, if equip number equals 3. So if it's equal to 2, then I had it being set to 0, so it goes back. But now I'm going to change this to 3. And over here, equip number can be set to 0. And this one here, equip number can be set to 3. Here, equip number can be set to 0. And because the knife in actually I don't have to do anything for the knife. So the only thing that I'm going to have to do is make the grenade in hand visible. But I'm not going to worry about that now. That's the basic setup. So next thing that I'm wanting to do is I want to create some projectiles. Compiles. Okay, I'm going to hop back to my scenes. I'm going to open up my main character prefab. And I'm going to go 3D mode and zoom into my character. And I'm going to temporarily dump in the throw animation. Actually, I can't really see where he's throwing anyways, where the hand position is. So I'm just gonna do it like this. I'm going to create an empty. And it's going to be called grenade instantiation. I'll just call it instantiator. And I'll just put it roughly like this. So I'm just going to like position it a little bit far away because his hand's probably going to be here. It doesn't have to instantiate right at his hand. I'm going to go into my props, and I'm going to create I'll go back to scenes. I'll create two empties called grenade projectile, and I'll create another one called path projectile. So grenade projectile is the actual, first I'll set the transforms back to 0, 0, 0. Same with this one. So grenade projectile is basically the grenade as it flies through the air. Path projectile is a projectile, let's just say it like a sphere that constantly gets thrown out into the world, showing the player where the grenade's going to land. So I'm going to take both of these, turn both of them into prefabs, and I can actually delete these. So I'll start with the path projectile, and here I'm going to create a script called path projectile. I'll open that up. I'll go ahead and create while it's doing that, I'll just go and script it. So I'm going to use a rigid body. So rigid. So rigid body RB. Float forward speed equals 5. And the start function RB equals get component rigid body, and in the update function I'm going to do RB dot linear velocity equals transform dot forward times forward speed. So basically, wherever that instantiator is pointing, so if I go back to my main character prefab, if this instantiator is pointing that way, it's the projectile is going to start off in that direction, but I don't want it to go straight indefinitely, so that's why I'm going to create another one called transform dot rotate vector 3 dot right, which means it's on the, if it's going forward, then vector right is the z-axis, so around the z-axis it's going to rotate like this. So vector 3 dot right times 30 times time dot delta time. But this is only going to happen if transform dot rotation is smaller than 90. So this is 0. This pointing down is 90. So if it's anything smaller than that, if it goes up, 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 goes up to negative 90, only then is it going to rotate down. So rotating down is rotating in the positive. So I'm rotating positive 30 over time delta time. So that way, as it rotates, if it starts forward, then it's going to rotate down. And one last thing, void on collision enter, destroy game object. So as soon as it hits the ground, it's going to destroy, or anything that's in its path. And I need to go back. I'll go back to my prefab. And I'm going to drag and drop the script. We'll go ahead and create another script called grenade projectile. I'll open that up. And first, actually, a lot of this stuff from the path projectile is going to get dumped here. So I'll just copy and paste. Just going to do the exact same thing. Oops. And on trigger, on collision enter, it's going to destroy a game object, but it's going to do some other stuff. I'll just leave that there for now. And then first I need to with this selected, I need first I need a mesh, so that'd be a good idea. I need to create a 3D object, a sphere, and I'm going to shut off sphere collider because I don't need it. And I'm going to drop one into this scene, this prefab. And as you can see, it's very big, so I'm going to go back into the prefab and reduce the size of it to 0.1. Go back into scenes. Okay, that's a little bit better. Maybe even smaller. No, that's good. 0. Okay, so I can just delete this. I don't need it. So this projectile, I need not with this sphere selected, but the parent. I'm gonna, because I shut off the sphere collider, I want to create another one here. Sphere collider. Make sure it's not, this is trigger is not checked. And I'm just going to reduce the radius so that it just wraps around the sphere. Could be a little bit bigger. Oops. About that size. Whoa. Oh, I see. The position is not. So about that size. And I need a rigid body. And everything can stay as is. I want to hop into my grenade, and the grenade this can be, because the center of the object is here, the grenade can be moved down. I'm going to do the same thing. First I'm going to drag and drop the grenade script, grenade projectile script. I'm going to add a sphere collider, making sure that is trigger is unchecked, and the radius is going to just wrap it around, just big enough, just bigger than the grenade itself, and I need a rigid body. Okay, so everything, so far so good. I'm just going to double check if I missed anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my, I'm going to have to close some of these, my main character script. So equip number is 0. I'm just going to double check that the animator has all the right equals 2 equals 2 equals 3 and equals 3, but it goes back if it's equals 0. So first I'm just gonna, actually no, I'm gonna go to my player script, and I'm going to look for where's my aiming function. Okay, aiming. I want to create another one. If I want to create a, before I do that, bool is winding back. No, actually I don't need this. I'm going to go back down here. If equip number equals 2, oh sorry, equals 3. I'm going to do equals 3. Then I'm going to do actually I do need I'll just say grenade. So grenade So all the grenade stuff is going to happen here. So public void I do need a public game object. Called grenade instantiate point. Actually, I do need another boolean called is winding back. So here, if this has to be set to false, is winding back by default is false. If attack input equals true and is winding back equals false, then I'll make it so that is winding back equals true, and if is winding back equals true, this is winding back animator dot set boolean is winding back. Make sure I got, yeah, it's a capital I, is equal to true. Else if attack input is equal to false, actually I'm going to move this down here, so if is winding back equals false, the attack input equals true, so winding back equals, no, I'll just leave it like that. If attack input is false, then animator dot set bool is false. But only if the button is let go, then I need to instantiate a grenade. I forgot to make a public game object. I'm going to instantiate a grenade. Grenade instantiate point dot transform dot position grenade instantiate point transform dot rotation. But this should only happen if the button is released. So just say the button was never pressed, then this shouldn't throw this. So this should only happen if is winding back equals true. And is winding back as soon as the button is let go is winding back is set to false. Whoops, set to false. So that way it's not constantly throwing the grenade. But when he is winding back, I need to do I need to throw the path projectile. But only if can instantiate path projectile equals true. If equals true, immediately it's going to be set to false. And I'm also going to start a quarantine. Can instantiate path projectile again. And right outside, right below here, I'm going to do by numerator instantiate path projectile again. Yield return new, wait 4 seconds. I'm going to wait 0.1 f, so 0.1 seconds, and then I'm going to set can instantiate path projectile to true. So it's only throwing it once every 0.1 seconds. if attack input is up, or it's, the attack button is not pressed, then can instantiate is set to false. So I'm going to compile this and see what it looks like. So I'll go back here. Actually, I don't think I need, I don't think I need this. I'm just going to get rid of this. Is winding back. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to compile that, and I need to go back into the editor. With the, I'm going to open up the main character prefab, and I need to remember to, with the character selected, I've got 3 empty fields. So the first one is the instantiate point, which is this point right here, and then it's also asking me for the 2 projectiles. So grenade and path projectile. So with path projectile goes here, and grenade goes here. And I'm just going to quickly save. Oops. Okay, so I lost some of my, I recorded without audio, so I'm going to have to commentate over what I just did. So I decided not to do the projectile path, or the path projectile, because it wasn't really working very well. So I scrapped that. So what I'm doing instead is I need to watch what I'm doing here. Yeah, I'm canceling out anything that has to do with the path projectile. I'm going to look for a different way of doing it. This method wasn't very effective. Okay, so here I'm setting up the animations, I think, for the grenade. Okay, animations were already set up. Oh, I have to make is crouching false when I'm equipping the grenade, when I'm going from knife mode to grenade mode, because there is no crouching. So just in case I am crouching with the knife, if I press the equip button to go to grenade mode, it'll just automatically set is crouching to false, and I'll go out of crouching mode. So I'm just making a little note for myself there. Basically just looking around. I think I was looking if there's anything else I need to set. So here I'm compiling it, and I think I'm going to hit play. Yeah, it takes a while. Oh, it's taking a very, very long time. So finally, I think it compiled, so I'm pressing play, and I'm trying this out. So press the middle mouse button, 1, 2, and 3. Pressing the left mouse button, I'm going to throw, which is fine. It throws the grenade. What am I looking for here? So instead of instantiating the grenade right away, it was instantiating too soon. So I'm waiting for his hand to be about halfway in the throwing motion, and I'm doing a start quarantine, and I'm going to create an I enumerator, throw grenade. And then I think it was after about half a second, because I think the animation was it 1 second? It was either 1 second or half a second, but I think I'm doing 0.5 seconds, then I'm instantiating the grenade. So compile. So if I hit play, I'm going to run around again. Equip, 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 aim. There we go, it's a little bit better timed. So that's a little bit better. So here I'm doing, if aiming is false and equip number doesn't equal 3, if the grenade is not equipped, then I can do the regular movement. If aiming is true and equip number is 3, then I can do the aiming animations while I have the gun. But here I think I'm doing is aiming, if he's not aiming but equip number does equal 3. I think I was trying to do something here with the aiming, but it wasn't working, so I scrapped it, but I'll just explain what I was trying to do. So here, if equip number is 3, but I'm not aiming, then I was going to create a grenade animations function. I was going to trigger it here. I was going to copy and paste everything from that aim animations and just dump it in. So basically took all the stuff from aim animations So I'm copying everything. So copy and then paste. But I'm just going to go through and this was basically to calculate the animations, but I think this was the wrong one. So I end up scrapping this. So, but right now I just, I was going to make it run if winding back was true. If he was in the throwing pose, about to throw the grenade. And then I went ahead and I think I tried blocking out anything that has to do with the animator. So animator dot set float. Yeah, these are all. Let's try to cancel them out. And here I'm thinking, I think. I think here I realize that I got the wrong thing, maybe. I'm looking at this aiming, and I think the aiming is what I wanted. Thinking, and more thinking. What am I doing here? So this is the one that I realized that I need, I think. So I create a new, under the update, I go if equip number is 3, then I create a new function. So if equip number is 3 and is winding back is true, then I'm doing grenade winding back. And then I think I go to the bottom and I find that one I just did, I think. I think I erase it. Yeah, so I grab everything that I just did, delete it, and then I change all these conditions back to what it was before. So I get rid of that very last else if, get rid of the equip number does not equal 3 condition. So that's what it was before. And instead, I'm going below the aim, public void aiming, and I'm creating the, whoops, I made a mistake there. I mistakenly pasted all that stuff. So I go public void grenade winding back. So this is if equip is number 3 and the left mouse button is pressed to have him in wind back mode. And if that is true, I'm going to take all this aiming stuff. This is when the gun is aiming, then the player just rotates around, depending on where the mouse is. So the same thing is going to happen with the grenade. So I'm just trying it out here. Takes a long time to compile as usual. There we go. So if I go around, press equip 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and I wind back, then I can rotate depending on where the mouse is. And I throw, and that's where the grenade goes. So I'm going to try once more. I'm trying here once more with the instantiating point rotated up. That way the forward of the grenade, when it comes out, it's pointing slightly up instead of going straight. So I just wanted to see what that looks like. I'm also going to put a grenade inside the hand so that it's turned on when he's winding back, and when he throws it, then it disappears. So this is taking a while. Just going to rotate it a bit just so that that thing that they're supposed to squeeze is near the fingers. That's the thing that prevents it from exploding or whatever, I guess. Something like that. And then I need to go into the default pose and look for the hand or the wrist bone of the right hand. So I go down the hierarchy, spine base, spine 1, spine 2, chest, clavicle right, upper arm right, forearm right, and then wrist right is where I dump it in. So grenade, drag and drop it into wrist right, and then disable it. By default, it's disabled. Back into scripts, I'm going to create a public game object and call it, I think, grenade in hand. And in this new, where is it? So the original grenade void, when the button is pressed, attack input is true. Then grenade in hand dot set active is true. And below that, else if attack input is false, then this is going to be set to false. So here I'm just copying and pasting it and setting it to false. After that compiles, make sure I drag and drop that grenade in hand into the field down here. So grenade in hand, I'm going to hit play. It's going around. Equip, equip, equip. You can barely see the grenade in hand, and once I throw it, the grenade in hand disappears. But as you can see, it just destroys the object as soon as it hits the ground. So I need to go to prefabs, and I want to create a grenade. That's going to be, as soon as that grenade hits the ground after he throws it, it's going to instantiate another one. So here I'm creating a grenade, setting it to 0, 0. So that's an empty object. So empty 0, 0. I'm going to dump it in the folder to create a prefab. But I'm changing the name to grenade on ground. Dump it in there, open it up, delete the one in the scene, open this prefab up, and I actually have the wrong prefab open, but open this one up. Model is going to drag and drop the mesh. Transform has to be 0, 0, 0. And then I'm going to rotate it so that it looks like it's lying on the ground. Do a nice little rotation and center it and have it sitting on the look like it's sitting on that line right there. And then in the grenade projectile, I'm gonna create a game object called grenade on ground, and I'm looking for the instantiate script, I think. There we go, instantiate. I'm just going to copy and paste this. And then grenade on ground. Transform position, transform rotation. So that's the position and rotation of the projectile when it hits the ground. So the moment it hits the ground, it instantiates this. So first, I need to go into the grenade projectile. And with it selected, at this drag and drop that prefab, the grenade on ground prefab into that little slot right there. And then I think I'm also turning down this to -15. I think 30 degrees was a little bit too high. So I'm hitting play. Running around again behind this wall so that the enemy doesn't see me. Equip, 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 wind back, throw, and then if I go over, there's one sitting right there. So that's the one that was instantiated. So I'm going to open up the grenade on ground. Oh, sorry, no. I'm going to create a script called grenade on ground. I'm going to open it up, I believe. Yep, open it up. And as soon as that's done compiling, I'm going to go back to that grenade on ground prefab and drag and drop that script onto the prefab. There we go. And I'm adding a component, I think a sphere collider. And I'm gonna zoom out and make it nice and big so it kills a bunch of the enemies around it. So let's just say if it's that big, I'm gonna drag it in just to see how big the that collider is. So the collider is pretty big. It's a good size. So the collider looks pretty good. Delete it and then go back into the grenade on ground, and I need to do some things. So I'm copy and pasting the on collision enter, pasting it on the bottom, and I'm going to make a condition. If first I need to create I think a boolean, can explode, is false. So if can explode is true, then inside that, I'm getting the if other game object tag is enemy. So instead of other, I've got to change it to collision, and instead of player, I'm going to do enemy. So enemy and collision. So it's in here that I'm going to apply damage to the enemy, any enemy that collides with it. So start coroutine can explode. I'm going to do IEnumerator, and after I think 3 seconds, I set the can explode boolean to true. So yield, return new, wait for seconds. Is it 3 seconds? 3 seconds. Can explode equals true. So if that's true and it collides with an enemy, then it's going to do something. Public game object. Explosion. So this is the particle that I want to do, like the explosion particle. And I think I'm going to instantiate it. So after 3 seconds, I forgot what I was thinking about here, but there's a bit of a pause. So compile back into the editor. So I'm getting copying pasting that template, and I'll open it up just to double check. Oh no, sorry. I'm just changing the name of it to particles because I don't have a particles folder. And I think this is where I create the particle. So I go back into the editor, go to my particles folder, I think. And I start off by going to the materials folder. Maybe not. Oh no, I create an empty first. Call it explosion 1. Put the transform to 0, 0, 0. In the prefab folder, put the explosion in there. And I delete the one in the scene. Open up the explosion. And then I go to materials to create a material. Call it explosion 1. In the art folder, I have a sprite sheet. So I have to set it to texture type sprite, apply it, and it's a single sprite mode, so apply that too. And as you can see, the sprite sheet is 6x6. You have to remember that for when I create the. So the material type is surface inlet or shader is a particle standard inlet. Rendering mode to fade, color can be multiply. Check flipbook frame blending. Check soft particles. Near fade 0, far fade 2. And in the albedo, I'm going to turn on emissions, and in the albedo, I'm going to drag and drop that spreadsheet into albedo, not color. There we go. And then I'm going to change the color of the maps to an orangey color, and I'll bump up the intensity. You can see the color at the bottom of the screen of the sprite sheet. And in the emission, I'm going to change the color to more of a reddish orange and bump up the intensity. Leave it like that, and then that's pretty much good for the material, I think. So in the material, in the prefab itself, I'm going to right click, effects, particle system. And I'm going to start off by scrolling down to, I think, rendering. So it's already checked, so if it's not checked, check it. And then soft mode by distance, or sort mode, not soft mode, sort mode. Max particle size is 5. Flip, the X is 0.5, and in the Y it's 0.5 as well. Uncheck the apply active color space. And then check custom vertex streams. And scroll down, and I'm going to press that plus button. And I'm going to create UV, UV2, as well as I think it's called anim blend. So I have to go to UV and then anim blend, and then I'm going to delete the normal. So select normal and press minus. Scroll down. An order and layer has to be 2. I was looking for something else, but it wasn't there, so order and layer is 2. Then I go texture sheet animation, check that, and the sheet was 6x6, so I set tiles to 6x6. Go up to particle system at the top and set duration to 2. Check pre-warm. Start lifetime 2 constants. So start lifetime goes from 1 to 0.5. And start speed, same thing. Random between 2 constants. Between
Oh no, this one was just 0. It wasn't two constants. It was just one value, so 0. This one was two constants. So you press that little arrow, and from 2 to 3, start rotation. I believe this was two constants. So minus 360 to positive 360. Culling mode, always simulate. Then I'm going to the emissions, make sure it's checked, emissions. And rate over time, 0. Press the plus button under bursts, and count is 3, and cycles is 5. Check shape, make sure it's checked. Radius is 0.35. Radius thickness is, oh no, color view over lifetime. So here I'm just making it from black to white. So with the bottom left one selected, I'm going to go to that color thing and then change it to black. And then I'm shifting it over to add a little bit more black on the left side. And then I think I selected the wrong one. I was selecting the material. Oh, this is the right one. So I go to render under material. I have to select the material that I created, which is called explosion 1. And then it doesn't look like an explosion. It looks like an explosion, but it's not the kind of explosion that I want from a grenade. So I have to adjust some things. So I'm looking around, and start size is too big, so 0.5 to 3. 3 was too big too, so I changed it to 0.5. So the size of the sprites is a bit smaller, but the overall explosion is too small. So what I decide to do is I go back, and I think I'm going to drag and drop it into the scene and play just to see what it looks like. So I drag and drop it, then I hit play. And then it just plays, I think, again and again, and it's very, very flat. So I go back to particles, and then I'm looking. Changing the start lifetime to 3, back to 1. Velocity over lifetime, I check it, and then here I change some stuff. So here I changed, I think, the Z, because originally I do Y, and it goes in the wrong direction, so I go Z, which is up. It looks a little bit better, but it doesn't look like an explosion. So instead of that, I set it back to 0, and then I go random between two constants. So I go on the Z between 0 and I think, what do I do? 1. Then it goes up a little bit. So I forget what I was looking for here, but eventually, I think it's emissions. Instead of 3, I do 10. So that right away you can see there's more, but I still wasn't satisfied, so I bump it up to like 20. There's still more. And then I hit play again. And it looks a little bit better. Still not big enough. So I go back. Emissions. I increase the count again, I think. Or maybe not. Velocity over time, I go back. So this has two constants for x, y, z. So I change the z to a bigger number, I think, to 5, so it goes higher. But I also adjust the x and y so that it goes sideways too. So I go 1, 0 to 1 for both. But I later realized that it only goes in one direction. So I think I play it to see what it looks like, and I find that it has like a slant to it, so I have to go back. Yeah, it's got a bit of an angle to it, so I didn't like that. So I go back to velocity over time, and I change it to -1 to +1. So that's more even on both sides. And then I tried changing the minimum value to 1, but there was a big space at the bottom, so I changed it back to 0. And then back to emissions, instead of 20, I tried 50. I think that was a little bit better. And cycles 2, and I went to 0, or I sent it to 1 and then put it to infinite, so I had to go back to count, and I set it to 5 again. In duration, I changed it to 3, so it lasts a little bit longer. So one thing that I forgot to check off was looping, so that way it only plays once. I don't want, when it explodes, I don't want it to play again and again and again. So looping is turned off. So now, back in the prefab, I'm going to drag and drop that explosion 1 particles prefab into that little field, and then back in the grenade on ground script, I have the public game object explosion already. So when after 3 seconds in the enumerator, explosion set active is true. Oh, sorry, that's what I originally put there, but I eventually changed it, I think. I do another public game object grenade. And I set the grenade mesh false. Grenade. And in game, I think I'm looking for an instantiate script again. Yeah, the instantiate. I want to instantiate the explosion, not set it active, because it's not an object in the prefab. So explosion, and instantiate at the position and rotation of this grenade on ground. Here I'm saying if can explode is set to false. So because I want anything in there to do, I want it to be performed once. I don't want it to constantly trigger many times. So I compile it, and then get the transform look at, and I'm putting it here, and I'm going to apply it to whatever collision, whatever object collided. So if it's the enemy, then I'm going to rotate the enemy character to look at this grenade on ground object. But I think later I don't use this because for the Y position, I'm just using the collision location, the object that collided. Enemy troop prefab. What am I looking for here? Oh, I'm creating another way to go to dying. So I think I grab those 2 dying animations. So there's dying and there's dead, and I move it up. But before that, I think I create a variable So I was going to use that as a placeholder. I want to do a different animation where he actually gets blown away, but I don't have that animation right now. So what I do is I move that up, and then I make a transition to that if a condition is met, which is a trigger called blown away. And then I select that transition. And then blown away at the bottom, which is a trigger. Then I go into my enemy script. And I create I go to the very bottom and create a public void blown away. Public void blown away, and once this is triggered, then inside of here there's going to be animator.setTrigger blown away. So the idea is when it collides with that grenade on ground explosion, then it's going to play that animation, the dead animation. And I'm also setting is dead to true, because if it's false, that means it can keep moving around and like doing stuff, but I don't want it to do that. So back in grenade on ground, I'm trying to get copying pasting this. Collision, get component, but this part doesn't work. Collision, get component, enemy troop script, and I'm trying to trigger that blown away function that I just created, but I get that red underline telling me that something's wrong, so it's not working. So I think about it for a second. See if I missed something. Can't find anything. Go back. Think. So I got rid of that piece of code that I just created. So instead, I think I compile. So I'm not going to worry about killing the enemy troops yet. I get an error saying that has exit time is not checked. So from the NE state, I guess it has to be checked. So I check it. Then I play. I think everything was good, but I forgot to make the grenade disappear. So there's an explosion, but there's still a grenade on the ground. So if I equip, throw the grenade, lands on the ground. 1, 2, 3, explode. But it keeps on exploding. It shouldn't be in flames like that. It should just explode once. The reason why is because when I go back to the script, it's constantly being updated inside of the function. First I have to, so that instantiate explosion is constantly being triggered after 3 seconds. So I need to create another variable called, it's got to be a Boolean, I think. Here I'm thinking about it, and finally decide I'm going to create a Boolean, not a public. Can instantiate particles, except set to true, but instead of public I gotta go change it to Boolean. Scroll down, and if can instantiate particles is true, which it already is by default, then I can instantiate the explosion, but that can instantiate particles has to immediately be set to false so that it doesn't constantly instantiate. And then when I go play it this time, compile. Play. Delete that explosion on the ground because I don't need it. So run over again. Equip. So equip 1, equip 2, equip 3, wind back, throw, 1, 2, 3. Explode once. But after it explodes, 1, 2, 3, the grenade is still on the ground. That is because I forgot to drag and drop the grenade into the field. So back into the grenade on ground prefab. I need to drag and drop the grenade mesh. So that way the mesh is, it disappears. So I'm trying it once more. Equip gun, equip knife, grenade mode, wind back the grenade, throw, lands on ground, explodes, and no grenade left because it disappears. And when I throw it there, it lands on top of that box, explodes, just fine. And if I go over here, you can sort of see that it's not landing on the ground. And the problem is because there's still a collider there for the previous the previous grenades. That big round collider, it's still there, so I need a way to get rid of it. So what I do here is What am I looking for? Thinking. I think I double check. So what I do is I run over again. Equip gun, equip knife, grenade mode, take aim, throw, wind back, take aim, and I throw one in the opposite direction, I think. Oh no, over there. Oh yeah, I throw one over here, and when I run over, all of a sudden I can't move because there's a big round collider there. I can't go past that point. So I go back to the script. Go back to the grenade on ground script, I think. Yep. And I think what I'm supposed to do, think about it. So I copy and paste that wait for seconds. First I do, so after 3 seconds, the grenade's on the ground for 3 seconds, then it explodes. And after 3 seconds after that, the entire game object is destroyed. So everything's gone. But I need a way to disable that collider after a brief second. So that collider only has an effect for a very brief moment. So I think I create another boolean called sphere collider. I create a sphere collider. And in the start function, I go sphere collider equals get component sphere collider. So I'm referencing the collider in the inspector. So what I do, I think I go back and I disable it by default. Yeah, go back to my prefab. And then the sphere collider, I uncheck it. So there's nothing there at the beginning, but there is one after 3 seconds. Yield return new 3 seconds. I go sphere collider dot enabled equals true. And then I create another yield return new wait for seconds right below that, I think for 0.1 seconds. So I copy and paste that right here, and then I go 0.1. So after 0.1 seconds, sphere collider enabled is equal to false. So it's only enabled for 0.1 seconds. So if I compile, I think I test this to see if it works. What am I looking at here? So I equip, grenade mode, I throw, I go over, it explodes, and I can't walk through, but after 3 seconds, I can walk through. I don't know why it didn't disable after 0.1 seconds. It took 3 seconds.
Okay, seems like this is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to cut it off here. I don't think I'm going to... There's a bunch of things I need to change, but I think I've made some good progress. I think most of it is functioning the way I want it to. So yeah, I'm quite happy with it so far. So I'm going to cut it off here, and thanks for watching.